Kelsey with the Children's Museum of Cleveland, and today we have a special story time to help celebrate Pride. So June is known as Pride Month, and Pride is all about celebrating our differences, and that we all have the right to be whoever we want to be, and we all have the right to love whoever we want to love. So today, we have 3 special stories that are all about celebrating the different types of families we might have. Our first story is called Families, 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 and it's by Suzanne Lang and Max Lang. Some families have lots of siblings, and some children have none. Some children have 2 dads, and some 1 mom. Some children live with their grandparents, and some with an uncle or aunt. Some children have many pets, and some just have a plant. Some children live with their fathers, and some children have 2 mothers. Some children are adopted, and some children have stepbrothers and stepsisters. Some children bunk with their cousins. Some have a mom and a pop. Some children's parents are married, and some children's parents are not. So no matter if you have a ma, a pa, a hog, this llama, 10 frogs and a slug, or a cousin named Doug, a great-grandma Betty and a great-aunt Sue, Uncles Hal, Al, and Sal, and Uncle Lou too. 1 stepsis, 3 step-bros, 2 step-moms, and a prize-winning rose, a robot butler to serve you tea, the world's biggest grandpa, or whatever it may be. If you love each other, then you are a family. And that's the end of our first story, friends. So our next story is called And Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell. And it was inspired by some real penguins at a zoo in Central Park. In the middle of New York City, there's a great big park called Central Park. Children love to play there. It has a toy boat pond where they can sail their boats. It has a carousel to ride on in the summer and an ice rink to skate in the winter. Best of all, it has its very own zoo. Everyday families of all kinds go to visit the animals that live there. But children and their parents aren't the only families at the zoo. The animals make families of their own. There are red panda bear families with mothers and fathers and furry red panda bear cubs. There are monkey dads and monkey moms raising noisy monkey babies. There are toad families and toucan families and cotton-top tamarin families too. And in the penguin house, there are penguin families. Every year, at the very same time, the girl penguins start noticing the boy penguins, and the boy penguins start noticing the girls. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. Two penguins in the penguin house were a little bit different. One was named Roy, and the other was named Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys. They did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper Mr. Ramsay noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, they must be in love. Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home, so they built a nest of stones for themselves. Each night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples. And every morning, Roy and Silo woke up together. But one day, Roy and Silo saw that the other couples could do something they could not. The mama penguin would lay an egg. She and the papa penguin would take turns keeping the egg warm until finally it would hatch, and then there would be a baby penguin. Roy and Silo had no egg to sit on and keep warm. They had no baby chick to feed and cuddle and love. Their nest was nice, but it was a little empty. One day, Roy found something that looked like what the other penguins were hatching, and he brought it to their nest. But it was only a rock, but Silo carefully sat on it and sat. And sat. When Silo got sleepy, he slept, and when Silo was done sleeping and sitting, he swam and Roy sat. Day after day, Silo and Roy sat on the rock, but nothing happened. Then Mr. Ramsay got an idea. He found an egg that needed to be cared for, and he brought it to Roy and Silo's nest. Roy and Silo knew just what to do. They moved the egg to the center of their nest, and every day they turned it so each side stayed warm. Some days Roy sat while Silo went for food, and other days it was Silo's turn to take care of the egg. They sat in the morning and they sat at night. They sat through lunchtime and swim time and supper. They sat at the beginning of the month and they sat at the end of the month. And they sat all of the days in between. Until one day they heard a sound coming from the inside their egg. Peep, 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 it said. Roy and Silo called back, squawk, squawk. Peep, peep, answered the egg. Suddenly, a tiny hole appeared in the egg shell. And then crack! Out came their very own baby. She had fuzzy white feathers and a funny black beak. Now Roy and Silo were fathers. We'll call her Tango. Mr. Ramsay decided, because it takes two to make a tango. Roy and Silo taught Tango how to sing for them when she was hungry. They fed her food from their beaks. They snuggled her in their nest at night. Tango was the very first penguin in the zoo to have two daddies. Soon Tango grew strong enough to leave the nest. Roy and Silo took her for a swim, just like all the other penguin families. And all the children who came to the zoo could see Tango and her two fathers playing in the penguin house with the other penguins. Hooray, Roy! Hooray, Silo! Welcome, Tango! They cheered. And at night, the three penguins returned to their nest. There they snuggled together, and, like all other penguins in the penguin house, and all the other animals in the zoo, and all the families in the big city around them, they went to sleep. The end. So we have one more story for you today, friends. And just like the last book, which had two great parents, this book is also about a little girl who has two great parents. It's called Heather Has Two Mommies, and it's by Lesléa Newman. Heather lives in a little house with a big apple tree in the front yard and lots of tall grass in the backyard. Heather's favorite number is 2. She has 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, and 2 feet. Heather has 2 pets, a ginger-colored cat named Gingersap and a big black dog named Midnight. Heather also has 2 mommies, Mama Jane and Mama Kate. Mama Kate is a doctor. She has 2 stethoscopes, so she and Heather can listen to each other's heartbeat. And Mama Jane is a carpenter. She has 2 hammers, so she and Heather can build things together. Heather and her mommies have lots of fun together. On sunny days, they go to the park. On rainy days, they stay inside and bake cookies. Heather likes to eat 2 ginger snaps and drink a big glass of milk. One day, Mama Kate and Mama Jane tell Heather they have a surprise for her. You're going to start school next week, Mama Kate says. There'll be lots of other kids to play with and a teacher named Miss Molly, adds Mama Jane. Can Midnight and Ginger Snap come too? Asks Heather. No, they have to stay home, Mama Jane says. But you can bring 2 special things with you, says Mama Kate. Heather chooses her favorite blue blanket to rest with at nap time and her favorite red cup to drink out of at snack time. Soon the big day arrives and Mama Kate and Mama Jane take Heather to her new school. There are so many things to play with. Heather sees building blocks, dress-up clothes, crayons, and paint. Heather also sees a big round table for snack time and a cozy corner for nap time. While Mama Jane and Mama Kate talk to Miss Molly, Heather puts 2 puzzles together all by herself. Soon, it's time for Mama Jane and Mama Kate to leave. They kiss Heather goodbye and Heather cries, but only a little. Heather has lots of fun at her new school. She builds a tower out of building blocks and dresses up like a firefighter. She drinks apple juice out of her favorite red cup at snack time and rests in the quiet corner with her favorite blue blanket at nap time. After nap time, all the children sit in a circle while Miss Molly reads them a story about a boy whose father is a veterinarian. Who knows what a veterinarian is? Asks Miss Molly. I do. My mommy is a veterinarian, Juan says. A veterinarian is an animal doctor. My daddy is a people doctor, shouts David. My mommy is a people doctor too, Heather shouts even louder. What does your daddy do? David asks Heather. I don't have a daddy, Heather says. She looks around the circle and wonders, am I the only one here who doesn't have a daddy? I have an idea, Miss Molly says. Let's all draw pictures of our families. Juan draws his mommy, daddy, and big brother Carlos. Miriam draws her mommy and her sister Rachel playing in the park. Stacy draws her daddy and her papa reading her stories. Joshua hangs up the picture he drew of his mommy and stepfather dropping him off at his daddy's house. Emily tapes up the picture she drew of her grandma and their 2 puppies, Emmett and Charlie. And David straightens out the picture he drew of the day his mommy and daddy brought his new sister Veronica home. Miss Molly looks at all the pictures. It doesn't matter how many mommies or how many daddies are in your family. It doesn't matter if your family has sisters or brothers or cousins or grandmas or grandpas or uncles or aunts. Each family is special. The most important thing about a family is that all people in it love each other. Soon, Heather's first day of school is over. When Mama Kate and Mama Jane arrive to pick her up, Heather shows them all the pictures. Is that me? Mama Kate asks, pointing to Heather's picture. And is that me? Mama Jane asks, pointing to. This is the mommy I love the best, Heather says, pointing to her picture. And this is the mommy I love the best, Heather says, pointing again. Mama Kate and Mama Jane both laugh at Heather, gives each of them 2 kisses, then takes their hands and they all head home. The end. Well, thank you to listening to our 3 stories all about all kinds of families and how a family is a family just because you love each other. So today, maybe you could draw a picture of your family and hang it on the wall, just like Heather did with her friends at school. Or you could do a fun activity together as a family, just as Roy and Silo swam with their penguin baby. I hope you have a great day.